Here, regarding this data mining technology has emerged as a means for identifying patterns and trends from large quantities of data. Data mining is also known as knowledge discovery in databases, has been defined as non-trivial extraction of implicit, previously unknown, and potentially useful information from data. Data mining is used to extract structured knowledge automatically from large data sets. The information that is mined is expressed as a model of semantic structure of the data sets, where in the prediction or classification of the obtained data is well stated with aid of a model. There we are having a descriptive mining and predictive mining. These are the two categories of data mining tasks. The descriptive mining refers to the methods in which the essential characteristics or general properties of the data in the database are depicted. The descriptive mining techniques involves tasks like clustering, association, and sequential mining. Whereas the method of predictive mining deduces patterns from the data such that predictions can be made. The predictive mining techniques involves tasks like classification, regression, and like deviation detection. Mining frequent item sets from transaction databases is a fundamental task for several forms of knowledge discovery, such as association rules, equation patterns, and classification. The subsets frequently occurring in a collection of sets of items are known as frequent item sets. Frequent item sets are typically used to generate association rules. The objective of frequent frequently the objective of frequent item set is frequent item set mining is identification of items that co-occurs in a database. So here in this particular class we are going to discuss the elementary concept of frequent patterns and understanding the concept of association rule mining and basket analysis of frequent mining. And here multi-level association rules and mining, the various approaches for mining multi-level and multi-dimensional association rules. Here, frequent patterns are the patterns which frequently occurs in a data set, which includes item sets or subsequences, substructures, etc. And here, when we are talking about the associations, which deals the relationship between items in a transactional data, often used in a market basket analysis. And if we talk about these correlations, which explores the statistical relationship between data items that go beyond simple association by providing insight into how item influences the other items. And here, generally, when we are going to be is any e-commerce site, when we are going to be purchase one particular item, the e-commerce site may suggest along with the whatever the item we are opted along with that. So by observing previous customers pattern or previous transactions history, it is going to support like suggest some other items. Here the frequent pattern is a pattern that appears in a dataset frequently. So generally there we used to have some kind of correlation among the items whenever we are going to be purchasing our book. So definitely we may used to we may prefer to purchase a pencil or a eraser along with that. So which is generally these are the items which are having some kind of like a correlation or some kind of association. And similarly, if you are going to be considered one other example, if a customer purchases milk, then he may prefers bread, or the customer who is going to be purchase bread, he may like opt to purchase butter and eggs like this. Here we are having some kind of like users customers preference. We are able to make some kind of we are able to observe these items that they may bought together. So that's why we may call these as frequently occurring patterns. Here, that which is going to be appear in a data set frequently together. So that if we are going to observe such kind of coexistence, then we can call it as a like a frequent pattern. And here, if we are going to be consider what are these frequent patterns, it may be some kind of item sets. So these frequent patterns may occurs in a sequential manner or in a structured manner. So here, what is a frequent pattern binding? If we are going to by finding recurring relationship, okay, in a given data set, we are going to search for recurring relationship, and then we are going to discover some kind of interesting associations or correlations between items by observing into these transactional databases. And here, this if we are going to be observe these frequent patterns, okay, so that appears more frequently, in a market basket analysis, a set of items such as milk and bread that appears frequently together in a transactional data set, okay, is a frequent item set. And another example, if you are going to be consider, okay, a customer may buy a mobile, and so he may going to be purchase like a cover, this mobile cover. So these two together frequently appears in a transaction data. That's why we can call it as like a frequent item set. And here, when we are going to be analyze by observing the buying habits of this customer, we can find some kind of associations. Okay, that a customer places or prefers together. Okay, so which is going to help us to observe to gain insight. Okay, the customer what he is going to be prefer together to purchase. So generally here we are having a when we are going to be observe this market basket analysis, which reflects the buying pattern. Okay, so which set of items that frequently purchased together, okay, or that they are going to associate together. So whatever the rules that they are going to represent these frequently purchased items, so that we are going to be called as association rules. Here we will consider one example. So that is a customer who is going to be purchase mobile, and it tends to purchasing of a screen guard or back cover. And here association rules that it is going to be like supported by two parameters, or it is going to be like that they are called support and confidence. Okay, so here these measures, okay, these parameters that reflects the usefulness and the certainty of discovered rules, okay, to qualify the rule which we are going to be discovered, which helps. And association rules are considered interesting if they are going to satisfy. So these two parameters, that is support and confidence, and by setting the certain threshold for these two parameters, which we are going to call as a minimum support threshold and a minimum confidence threshold. So these threshold can be set by the users or else by the domain experts. Okay, here this is the association. Association is a it is one of the technique in a data mining to identify the correlate co-occurrence, okay, or the relationship between the items in a data set. So generally, it involves by observing or analyzing a large data sets. Okay, so in which what are the like repeated this that they are going to be occurred in all the transactions. So by which we are able to discover a pattern and or else we can focus and we can identify some kind of association among the items. So such as a product purchased together, okay, in a supermarket or like web pages frequently visited together on a website, which makes some kind of okay, like association or a correlation. And this association analysis is based on the idea of finding the most frequent patterns or item sets in a data set, where item set is nothing but it is a collection of one or more items. So this association rule mining, it is one of the popular descriptive data mining technique. Okay, extensively. So it is used in a like marketing and retail communities in addition to many other diverse fields. The mining association rules is particularly useful for discovering relationships among the items from large databases. And here, uh, the extraction of these correlations, frequent patterns, associations, and causal structures among set of items in the transaction databases or other data repositories is the main objective of this association rule mining. Okay, here, so when we are going to be observe this association rule mining process consists of two phases. The first phase or the first stage was fire. Uh, we need to find out all the high frequency of data collection. Okay, and calculating whether they are being like they are meeting the given parameter, that is the minimum support threshold. And the second stage again by the higher frequency, so we are going to evaluate these association rules like calculating whether it is satisfying the metric confidence. Okay, so here, if we are going to be consider the items, the types of associations, here we are having a item set association. It is like a most common type of association analysis. So which helps in discovering of a, relationship between among the items in a data set, which that they are going to be like co-occurred. Okay, one when customer is going to be purchase one item, how frequently he is going to be purchase the other items. Okay, this is called like a combination of these items together we may call as an item set. So, for example, here in a supermarket data set, the item set association can be used to identify the items that are frequently purchased together, such as bread and butter. And another type of association is here it is a sequential association. Sequential association is used to identify the pattern that occurs in a specific sequence or in a specific order. And here, these particular kind of sequential association may be applied to like observe or I didn't like observe the uh, customers' behavior on an e-commerce website or so in some kind of web blogs, how the customer is going to be preferred, how he is going to be like move from one kind of items to other items. And next, third one, here we are having another type of association rule is which is like a substructured association. That is nothing but it is a non-linear one. It is a graph-based association, which involves which consists of which is going to be maintained some kind of relationship between these items and which is represented in the form of non-linear structure that is as a graph. So in this type of association, which is going to explore the co-occurrence or the relationship between items, and generally it is used analyzing or the applications are helpful in a like social network analysis and some kind of fraud detection. Okay, in this particular mining, we are able to make use of these particular graph-based association rules can be deployed. Okay, here this is association rules. Okay, so association mining rule generally like we are able to define the problem of association rule mining is so let I is it is having n number of items, but it is I is equals to set of items. That's a binary. Okay, it is going to be called a set of items, and another one is a D. Okay, D is going to denote a set of transactions called it is a database, and each transaction in a database D has a unique transaction ID and contains a subset of items in I. That is, it's a global item set. And a rule is defined as an implication of like in the form of A tends to B, where A is a transactions, A is a set of items and B is a set of items. And here we are going to, customer is going to make a transaction which is being denoted in the T, and always the transaction set T is a subset of I, and the association rule is defined as A tends to B, where A is a subset of I and B is a subset of I, and A intersection B is null except I. Here, the rule is defined as an association rule. A tends to B holds in a transaction set with the support S and confidence C. Here, the support and the confidence, and along with another parameter, the lift, which we can calculate by the frequency of combination of items over the total number of transactions of data set D. So these are the rules that we are able to compute these metrics, which is going to satisfy our which when it is going to meet the minimum threshold, then we are going to be considered for the further process. Here the support can be calculated okay, by the number of transactions in which the item set appears. Okay, for example, here we are going to be consider the item set combination of items, that is item set milk and bread. We are going to count the total number of transactions which consisting of milk and bread together over the total number of transactions, okay, which we are going to consider as a data set. Here the total the data set consisting of total transactions are 1000, and among which the milk and bread together, that it is going to be appear in 100 transactions. So the support can be calculated by the 100 by 1000, which gives 10%. Here the confidence can be calculated by measuring the likelihood that an item will appear if another item set appears, like a combination of X and Y, and along with the total number of among the total number of transaction, how the X item is going to be appear. Here this is like an example where we are going to be calculate, okay, the support and confidence for each and like for every item over other. Here item A is going to be appear, okay, so total 3 times in the above 5 transactions, and A and D together they are going to be appear only in second transaction and fourth transaction, that is 2 times together, and A alone appears in the 3 transactions. But here if you are going to be consider the formula for support, here it is frequency of x comma y together, that is a frequency of A and D together, which is going to be appear in the second transaction and fourth transaction, that is in 2 transactions. And here we are having the total number of transactions are 5. So that's why the support can be calculated. So 2 by 5, which gives the support. The association rule A tends to D. The support is 2 by 5. And confidence is A and D together, that they are going to be appear in 2 transactions. That is like in A, like in second transaction and in fourth transaction. But A alone is going to be appear here. It is A once and A twice and A thrice. So this A is going to be okay alone. That is like A is going to be appear in 3 transactions. That's why confidence can be calculated by. So that total together they appear in 2 transactions, and A alone or A is going to be exist in 3 transactions. Like this, we are able to calculate the confidence. And here we are having so this is regarding here association rules, that is we are able to calculate support, okay, where A is the percentage of transaction in D that contains like A and B together. Support A tends to B can be defined as the probability of A union B, and this confidence C, where C is the percentage of transactions, okay, in the database D containing A that is also containing B. Here, rules that satisfy uh, both the uh, minimum support threshold and the minimum support confidence are called strong rules. And here, this is regarding some important terminology regarding item sets, which is an item set that contains k items is called k item set, and the occurrence frequency of an item set is number of transactions that contains the item set, which is also known as frequency or support count, or simply we can call it as count. Here, if an item set I I satisfied prerequisites minimum support threshold, then I is a frequent item set. The set of frequent k item sets is commonly denoted by LK, which is list of k items. And here the confidence is going to be calculated. A tends to be support of A comma A union B together over the support of A alone. And here this is a frequent item sets. Okay, so their support can be calculated. Here we are having in a data set there it is consisting of 5 transactions. Okay, and the unique item, the distinct items are 5 distinct items. They are namely A, B, C, D, E, and frequency of the corresponding items are 3, 3, 2, 4, 4 respective. So here we are having A is going to be appear in 3 transactions, and the total number of transactions are 5. So 3 by 5, which gives 0.6, that is the minimum support count of A, and B's minimum support count is also zero point 0.6, and C is repeated in 2 times in the entire transactional data. That's why 2 by 5, which gives zero point 0.4, and D and E, which each one that they are repeating 4 times in the given data set. Okay, that's why 4 by 5 gives zero point 0.8. This is the minimum support count. Here, the association rule mining consists of like 2 major steps. So one is finding all frequent item sets, and then we are going to generate a strong association rule from the frequent item sets, which uh, which is going to explore the overall performance of mining association rules is determined the first step. So here we are having item sets can be we are able to define that is a closed item set and a maximal item set. So here, for example, if you are going to be considered over the data set is being defined here. If you are going to represent that as an S, and if you are going to take an item set X, okay, which consisting of some items. So if item set X is closed in a data set S, if there exists no proper super item set Y, okay, such that Y has the same support count as X in S. So if X is both closed and frequent in S, then X is a closed frequent item set in S. And maximal item set, if the item set X is maximal frequent item set or max item set in set S, if X is a frequent and there exists no super item set Y such that X is a subset of Y and Y is a frequent in a S, then it is X is going to be called as maximal item set. So here this is regarding okay. So in a tree manner we are going to be search. So here A is being repeating 3 times and B is repeated in the transaction data. Okay, so we are having these 4 times and C is 4 times, D is 5 times. Then we are going to check the combination of items, that is AB, okay, together, that it is being repeated 2 times, and AC, which is 3 times, AD 3 times. Like that, if you are going to check, so the solid items in item sets we are going to be called as frequent items, and which is halo combination, that it is infrequent items. And here when we are going to be considered closed frequent and so and maximal frequent item sets can be represented like this. Here frequent pattern mining can be like we are able to classify in various ways. One is like based upon its completeness of patterns and like levels of abstraction and number of data dimensions involved, types of values handled, and kinds of rules to be mined, kinds of patterns to be mined. So these are the like we can mine these frequent patterns based upon this particular one. So like based upon the completeness of the patterns to be mined, so the item set may be like a closed set, or sorry, these are like a closed frequent item set, complete set, constrained frequent set, like that we are able to consider these are the different like types of patterns. Okay, here based upon levels of abstractions. Okay, there is a multi-level association rule which exists and which consisting of different levels of abstractions. Then the pattern we need to be involved that rules that it is being classified like based on levels of abstraction, and this frequent pattern mining can be done based upon the number of data dimensions like single and multi-dimensional, and this frequent pattern mining can be like done based upon types of values that they are being handled in the rule. So like Boolean association rule and quantitative association rule.